to another episode of the show with no name. I'm joined by Renee Matua on the couch today and a really good old friend of his from Maroubra, Richie Vas, otherwise known or affectionately known in Australia as Richie Vas.
Thanks, Renee. That's perfect. Yeah, thanks for having us on, guys.
No, I appreciate it. I know you guys go a long way back. For those who are watching this and may not have heard about Richie Vas along the line, big wave surfer, MMA fighter, cage fighter extraordinaire, and as I mentioned, both from Maroubra and grew up as little scallywags.
We go back a long way, Ren. Probably 25 years, bit longer.
Yeah,
long time.
I even like knew of Ren and Leiden before I met them, just in primary school, just through like Jody Marielle. So like it's one of those things. Yeah,
and you still
knew each other before, like when I was like 9.
You still chose to get to know him.
Yeah,
you didn't have a choice, Ren.
He lifted me off the ground with a wedgie. The first time I met him, I think, at the surf club, and just
Because what's the age difference between you guys?
Only a year.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Because there's a photo.
Exactly. Almost because we're both in June. Yeah.
There's a photo. I think it's on your Instagram, and it basically looks like you've got Richie on your lap.
How
like a
deep
little
into
kid.
my Instagram did you go, Ren?
No, it wasn't on yours. It was on Richie's,
okay.
actually.
That was,
Don't bloody yourself.
Prezzo, I think.
It was Border Riders presentation.
Prezzo, it would have been in the 90s, I think. And then I remember going to a year 10 formal Ren, just back in the day.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. That was a don't tell that
Ren got me
story.
flagged before it.
What was it like growing up in Maroubra? I guess for me on the outside in, Maroubra was Bra Boys, and I know you guys did sort of come through a fair bit of that fringe, but Maroubra's cleaned its image up a lot in that way now. But when you guys were coming through the ranks, what was it sort of like?
Looking back, I often just kind of like, like pinches. It completely changed, as to what it is today, and just wild. I felt like growing up, it felt like Maroubra compared to like Coogee or Bronte or Bondi, which is like the ugly duckling of the city beaches. We could just get up to whatever we wanted. There was no consequence or anything. The pub was like a Wild West pub where people were hanging from like the lights nude. There were fights at the back. There was motorbikes coming through the pub, like all kinds of ruckus. Like every time you walked in there, and like I said, it was just our playground. When if the waves are pumping, we're surfing. If there was no waves, we're hanging around the streets, bloody having egg wars, or just carrying on. And it just felt like there's nothing at any consequence. You could be as big a rat bag as you wanted, and you get away with it all. And it was a lot of fun. And I look back thinking, feeling pretty lucky we sort of got through it the way we did. And but I really appreciate and grateful for it, because it was a really great place to grow up with a great bunch of mates who I'm still calling my best mates today.
Do you feel like if you hadn't have sort of gone down that route of the sports with surfing, or like even with the MMA, where life could have gone?
Yeah, definitely. I was a sucker for attention, like peer pressure, and like I always joke about like small man syndrome. I'll do anything to impress my mates, and probably what led me into big way surfing and MMA, just because I just put my hand up, said I'd do it before I even thought about it. But yeah, definitely. If it wasn't for sport and like the community had like it. I've spoken about it before. Like you have these heroes, like your Muhammad Ali's, or your Alfie Langers, or for whatever. But like my heroes were the older guys at the beach. You know what I mean? Whether they just be a ride-off or an amazing street fighter or a fantastic surfer, they're like, I was able to rub shoulders with just the people I consider my heroes, and you got so many influences from that crowd, and they weren't all great for sure. And if I feel like it wasn't from my having like a solid sort of home foundation, even though I come from a broken family and stuff, but my family life and the morals and the values that they sort of laid in me, and then also my tight group friend within that Bra Boy community could have gone very much a different route. Like I said, that small man syndrome, that feel that need to impress and show off and prove you're a man or whatever it was, that coming from a place of insecurity. Now that did get me into trouble, even with all those positive influences as well, and some of my closest friends trying to snap me out of it. So without surfing and martial arts as a really positive outlet, I think it could have gone one of many ways.
You've got, sorry, Redden.
Sorry. When did you start surfing? When did you start your martial arts? Like, when did it I mean, we all grew up on the beach, but
Yep.
for the people that are watching,
Mate,
when
surfing
did
to
the beach
me
come
was
in?
something I can't even remember. You know, I just always had this sort of, this, I guess, intrinsic want to surf. You know, my uncle was a surfer. He's from Manchester, you know, from the housing estates in Manchester. But he left there and just had a passion for surfing, you know, and he travelled through Portugal and, you know, ended up here in Australia and lived up at Avalon on the northern beaches. And my cousin Daniel and my cousin Laura, and I can just always remember. I guess I just must just was drawn to that love of the ocean and surfing through him initially, I guess, and then I just straight away I was down Nippers as a kid down at Maroubra, and all I ever wanted to do was be in and around the ocean surfing, and that's still, like, to this day, like, I can never see that not being such a big part of my life, you know, being in and around the ocean. Like, I love martial arts and I love you know, so many other things, but that's probably like the one thing that will always play the biggest role in my life in terms of place that I can clear the head. Like, you know, it's therapeutic to be in the ocean where I'm surfing, fishing, diving. It's just that love for the ocean is something that's always been super strong. And so like I said, I can't remember when I had this idea of, like, I want to be a surfer, but that was from day one, and going through the you know, surf club and Nippers, and then joined the board riders when I was about 10. And then just falling in love, and just that's what my focus for so many years was on, just surfing. And then martial arts came later in life when I was kind of at the end of my teens, really. I always loved training, and I was always like, love the idea of being fit. You know, even like in primary school, doing cross country and playing footy and all that kind of stuff. I loved pushing myself physically.
Mm-hmm.
And then hanging down the beach when I was like 10 and 11, and meeting Kobe and the Abraham brothers, and like Ronnie and, you know, Wayne Clear, and all these big characters, you know, guys who could do, like, professional boxers or just amazing street fighters. Or, you know, Kobe was just at the time like pioneering big wave surfing, and he always emphasized being fit, you know what I mean, training, and you know, how important that was to succeeding in the area of big wave surfing. So I was pulled into that, and and that led me into sort of martial arts, because I love boxing, and that was another way of keeping fit. But then I love the idea of being able to protect yourself, and, like I said, want to impress friends. If you get into a knuckle or a street fight, I wanted to not just get my ass handed to me. And that then led me into training boxing. And then it was about 18 I was introduced to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's when that whole martial arts concept was introduced, and it was a big shift in things. And I look back now being forever grateful for that, because it added that kind of discipline kind of element to fighting, and respect for it all, you know, understanding I guess the power that comes with training to compete, you know.
Because was it fact or fiction when I did hear about that the Bra Boys you have to sort it out by fighting it out, and that's how you ended up going into the boxing? So is that?
Well, mate, it was. I mean, Ren can attest. We like I said, it wasn't just myself. It was like I loved training. It was just the culture down there.
Yeah.
You know, we had older members of the Bra Boys who were professional boxers. The names I just mentioned before were all big on training, and at one of many backyards or garages, there's always a bag of boxing gloves, and we'd all go there to train, and then the gloves would get handed around, and it'd be like someone of similar size, you'd spar, you know what I mean, and you'd be punching the shit out of each other. And, so it was. And then on the drink, or like, you never want to be known for that person who backed away from a fight or ran from a fight. Like I'm not saying it's a great sort of message to be pushing out, but that's just the culture and the environment we grew up. So you just you had to know how to fight, yeah.
Do you think that could have been sort of detrimental to our upbringing, like not walking away from a fight?
For sure.
Yeah.
And that idea, that martialism, just like you know, always the hard, go hard or go home. Always, like, you know, the harder the better. The whole idea of it was the manly thing to do. That's how you prove yourself, is to, like, never back down, never walk away from a fight, and never be able to just, like, I guess, tune in. Is it worth it? Like, is this really getting on my skin? Like, I can walk away from this. I can just, like, there was no other option. And now you know, how many lives of our mates has that ruined? You know what I mean? So it definitely it was a double-edged sword. I think it's great for young guys, girls, any demographic to learn how to protect themselves through martial. I think martial arts, I can't speak highly enough for them. In any form is so great for someone to know how to defend themselves. But the idea of looking for fights, and that's a way you prove yourself as you're growing up, as going from a young fella to going through your teens and to becoming a man. That was like the benchmark of kind of like gaining respect and stuff was to go out and get in a fight. So that's a totally flawed and misconstrued message. I think it only sort of like produces negative outcomes and drama. So for sure.
Did you feel the same, Ren? Did you feel like there was a moment where you had to go, all right, I now need to learn to walk away because that's not the way you were brought up?
Well, like I've spoken about this openly. Like I was looking at a 7-year jail term in my first year of first grade from an incident that happened 2 years before I made my debut.
Yeah.
There was just no compromising at Maroubra. You could never just rationalise a situation. If someone wanted to start, it was on.
Yeah.
Right? It was never like guns or knives or anything like that, but it was a lot of punch-ons.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't go looking for the fights. We didn't have the capabilities of walking away from them. Yeah. And it all caught up with me at 21. I'm in the prime of my life playing first grade, and I'm going to court looking at a 7-year sentence for something that happened 2 years before when I was 19, and Marky Matthews is 21st or 20. So, yeah, it is a double-edged sword, and there has been a lot of people from Maroubra go to jail for stupid things. A lot of the boys that have gone to jail are like really stupid things. I mean, there's some crime that are quite serious, but the majority of it is just dumb shit, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just that beach culture. Yeah. And Maroubra was just...
amplify that into,
Yeah.
And it's also, too, just like, because, you're always trying to impress your peers. If you say you got into a situation where a guy called you out for a fight or, it was on and you weren't to step up and show that, you're willing to fight, mate, the backlash or the heckle you get from your mate, it would crush. I was terrified of I even went in the surf. Like we would surf with Kobe Abbott and whatever spot we'd gone to when the swell was up. He was like, if you don't take off, if you don't have a go, like you're walking home. Like we might be 3 hours down the coast, and it's like if you don't fucking have a crack and like say the wave comes through, it's your turn, and they're calling you, go Rich, go. Like if you paddle for hit the fucking anchors and pull it up, you're yeah, fucking shit, and it's the whole lineup while your mates are just tearing shreds off you, and then you'll be in the car park getting changed. Like, see you, Vas, mate.
Legit, leave you there.
Like, leave me there.
Oh, you know what I mean? It wasn't like
no, it wasn't like so. Like I was a sucker for that. I went over the falls and fucking countless ways broke millions of boards, fucking folded myself in half because I was too scared of fucking being labelled as that little cat who wouldn't go,
Yeah.
But that's the same as fighting. Like, fucking, you shit yourself last night. You should have punched the shit out of him, Like, it was over nothing. Like, there's no rationalising. You can what do you mean? I was fucking over nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't even like an option to have that conversation. And, so it was, well, I'm glad now that, obviously a lot of, conversation around it changed and ideas and things have...
it's built a lot of character, hasn't it, Maroubra? Like, I don't want to shit on it, especially being a bra boy. A lot of people can say, and there's times where I've thought I want to get my tattoo removed. But I look back, and Maroubra was a place where I knew I was safe.
Yeah.
My parents always knew where I was. We were in the water surfing. We were misbehaving, but we were still at the beach.
Yeah.
We weren't out in the city being wild. We didn't discover Coogee until 18. I'm just discovering the city now. We just stuck to Maroubra.
Yeah. And I was misbehaving in a kind of wholesome way, you know what I mean? And like in a little rat baggy kind of way. You're not out like
with your own group,
handbags, like sticking people out with knives. And like it was just in amongst us, and might egg the odd taxi or something. But it was like a lot of fun.
But like cabbies.
Do you think the perception of the bra boys has changed now? And do you think that's because of guys like you? And I know we'll go into further about the talent of some of the guys that you grew up with, but do you think now that's different?
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of the perception was made off the back of the documentary, around that period. Mate, they were in the media so much around that, not just because of the documentary, but because some really high-profile bra boys were doing big things, getting out there, positive, negative, whatever it may be, and we're just in the public's eye so much. That's 10, 15 years removed now, and things have settled, and you still have people who are in the public eye, but the chaos of it all has settled, and
do you think the Bra Boy movie changed the beach for
sure,
for the worse?
In that So I'd say maybe like 5 years after, definitely in the like immediate future after
Yeah.
the success of the doco.
Like I love that what Macario did to be able to
Yeah,
produce that, and it was great. It was
Yeah.
a lot of publicity, but there was the ramifications that came after it, and you can probably talk better about it with the younger
I think the
kids coming
generation
through.
below me definitely caught
For
the
better
brunt
or
of
for
that.
worse?
For worse.
Yeah.
Just because it brought a lot of attention to it, and a lot of people, a lot of new heads came to the era wanting to be part of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess the reputation or the, I guess there's like not a notoriety around the Bra Boys now. And try to impress and trying to do things that weren't really what we were about. You know. And I guess a lot of the messages from that documentary maybe again misconstrued and taken out of context, and a lot of the young fellas, like I said, younger than me, just got caught up in the madness of it all. You know, always having to try and show off and prove themselves in ways that I'm sure looking back it's not how they wanted to like be seen. You know what I mean? But they got caught up in just feeling like maybe they got to keep flying that flag. You know what I mean? And And I'm talking about guys who was still a huge part of our community, you know, who went through their own journey and made mistakes. And I think, but those mistakes were made off the back of just coming from that wild period, off the back of the doco, and just not really knowing how to sort of navigate all that, you know.
Yeah.
Because we had Russell Crowe narrate the movie.
Yeah.
You know, in his pretty much his prime as well.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing first grade then.
Biggest role he's ever had.
He still talks about it to this day.
But it was wild.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the highest grossing Australian documentary of all time.
Wow. Okay.
And then, you know, we were in one of the theaters in the city for the premiere, and it was packed, and there was like, I got this monster truck, turn up in a monster truck. Oh, this
Was it
wanker.
pink? Yeah.
Oh, getting out of a monster truck and cameras in our face. And it was just the whole vibe around it. And then Rich will talk about this more, but when I went to LA, like the LA premiere, it went global.
Yeah.
You went
wild.
on that. Went global, and it made us targets as well.
Yeah.
You know, we were big targets, especially, who are these, bro? Are you gangmen? Like, who are you? So we're going out in the cross in the middle of the mid 2000s. You became a target, and they're proper heavy hitters up there.
Yeah.
But Rich, like the LA premiere, I didn't get to go.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
It was like, and everything just felt like I think about that now and go, what the fuck? Like hanging with Paris Hilton and fucking doing just
Name drop.
Yeah,
I want to hear them all. I want to hear them all.
like,
I know.
And
I was jealous at home.
and it's like Russell Crowe, like he was come for a couple beers down the pub, and you see him and that's because there's so much wild shit going on at the time. Like it wasn't that big a deal. Like, oh yeah, and then I look back, and go, fuck, how the fuck did that all just happen? You know what I mean? Like I still scratch my head going, and obviously just even like you know, the Heinze murder, and then around that time the Cronulla riots, all these things I look back now and like, I can't believe that fucking unfolded.
Yeah.
Like it's such a wild.
It was
times
a
and
wild
like
time.
because it was just like one after the other. You're just caught up in this vortex of madness.
Yeah.
Just going, fuck yeah, it's just normal. You know what I mean? I look back now, just going, that was so far removed from normal. Like I can't believe I even experienced that.
One
But
minute you're in the nude down Maroubra, the next minute you're rubbing shoulders with
I
Paris
was
Hilton.
fucking- a mechanical
Still
bull
in the
in
nude.
Still in that
no, like what? Like that was just it. Like I haven't got nude in public for ages, but like it was just like every second day if I was running a
We've only just
mechanical bull,
started the
just anything, just because. It was just that wasn't even like my mates weren't even blinking an eye. They weren't. They didn't even leave their bar stool. Just going here like, yeah,
Rich is nude again.
yeah.
I'm surprised he's got clothes on now.
I was surprised he walked in clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take much. I said I'll finish your skirt and we'll be in all sorts.
Richie and nudity go hand in hand.
I have heard.
Yeah.
Was there a time where you were nude at a concert or something and you were working the next day?
Yeah,
You
that
tell
was, it
the
was a couple
story.
of weeks later, and
I'll tell you tell your part version, and I'll tell mine.
okay. Well, it was a field day.
Field day.
He was day in the domain, and
Fucking
don't know. It
incredible.
was just that voice in my head about fucking making my mates laugh, you know, and like doing stupid shit that they're gonna laugh about tomorrow, and love getting nerd. Don't know why. I do know why actually. Like, I'm not gonna go into it. I did like a bit of therapy about it. And anyway, another episode. But yeah, it was this massive light pole in the middle of the whole festival. You know, in the middle of the ground. It was huge. It was fenced off because you could climb it, so they fenced it off to not you know, to try and stop idiots like me climbing it. And yeah, I need probably a couple of drinks in, but that's all I need. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to climb that pole. I almost said to one of my mates, and then, like, you won't. And it's all I
the
did was,
Aussie, you won't.
I was like, hold this. Shorts off. Ran, jumped this fence, just climbed this pole. It was pretty high up. And there's
High up.
It was
like
it was
5
high.
stories.
And,
it was huge. So I'm standing in a different area because it was one of those, like, it was like 42 degrees, field
It was
day.
scorcher. That's why they were kid off, really, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, it was
to
hot.
stay cool.
Yeah. And they had these sprinklers going across, and I was just standing under a sprinkler drinking. And I'm like, look at that fucking lunatic up on that pole. Like, the top. And it was that high that it was swaying. He's got one arm around in the nude, swinging on this, the whole festival. They didn't even care about the concert. They just go, yes! Just cheering. I was like, fucking legend.
At
I'm
what
going, that's
point
Richie.
did you work out it was Rich?
I went, mate, I've seen that ass before. That's Rich. And then, mate, we started creeping over. He'll tell the rest of the story, but it gets better.
Yeah. I'm just putting it, it was still a bit foggy, but yeah, they're up there having a ball. And then I thought, fuck, better get down because I could just see the whole, where like the base of this pole was just like getting thick with then heaps of security guards and then like heaps of people like, and I was like, I'm a sucker for like a laugh and people, so I milked it and then I was on my way down thinking, I'm going to get booted here for sure. And yeah, the whole base of this, like it was fenced off. I've got to get out of here and somehow not get grabbed by the security guard. And that's what I remember doing. I don't know how I did it, but if someone just distracted the security, I just jump and just hit the crowd, and it's like I'm a pretty quick little fella, you know, and like I can hit little gaps and just pull it off into the crowd.
Imagine seeing that at a festival, just a nude guy bolting straight
And
past.
I love jumping fences, like in festivals. Like I never bought a ticket to anything. And I was that confident. I'll jump out of a festival and then jump back in and go back. Like I'll just do it. So I just jumped out of the festival. Somehow I got my shorts back and then ran around, jumped back in a bit later, and
it was like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. Yeah.
You're just standing next to you having a beer. I'm like, fuck, you were just up that pole, chased by security guards. Now you got clothes back on with fucking 3 drinks in your hands.
But the funny thing was about what you mentioned about a couple of days later, it was like a week or two later, I'm laying carpet and I'm in this house, this rental property, and there's a couple of young fellas there, and was Fox I was working for at the time. Yeah. And they're laughing and like they knew that we were like knockabout blokes, could have a laugh, and I said, mate, check this out, check this footage out.
There's footage.
Yeah. And they showed me, it was footage of that. And my boss was like, he's got this like squeaky little voice. He goes, oh mate, he's in the room laying your carpet. Bullshit, they called me out and showed me, and I was like, oh fuck. So, yeah, that was me. Like, yeah. So I was like, that was the early days of shit going like.
That's the PG,
online.
the PG ones. Before Jackass, there was Richie Vas.
Yeah.
Legit. So we went to our year 10 formal. I'm in year 11. I'm the creepy. I'll continue, but I'm the creepy older kid. I'm in year 11 on their year 10 formal. We're on a cruise. And this is probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen him do, but he's done a lot. He's got 9 lives.
Yeah.
So we're standing there. I'll tell it. Because I'll put some GST on it. So we're standing up the back of this boat, and we're in the middle of the harbour, probably, 9 o'clock at night? It was late. Middle of the harbour. We go under the bridge. We go past the Opera House. Rich is just standing there and just goes, I'll see you at Macca's. Jumps off the side of the boat.
And that's known as like the triangle where the most shark like action is.
Yeah,
I'll see you at Macca's.
I had that data at the time.
And we're like, what the fuck? And a security guard saw on the boat, he just started doing this huge loop. And we're like, where is he? And as the boat came around, the light was just going across the harbour, and you just seen Rich, just this little boat just swimming in the middle of the harbour. Yeah. Oh, and then we got taken, and then a few of us jumped in, and then they called the rest of the formal off.
And that erupted too, because half the boat was spewing that the formal was over, and
I was soaking wet. I was ready to go.
That was just
of course, I went
swimming with the sharks.
Yeah, I was in this class in primary school called Stop, Think, Do. And it's about like encouraging kids when they want to do something stupid or naughty to stop, think, and then do. And it's like Wade Mathias, he was like Nicky Hatton. There's a few of us like at Maroubra Junction Public School, who got put in this class. Kids, just good kids, just naughty kids, you know, always do dumb stuff. And I laugh about it too. That was apart from ESL, I was in ESL as well. But yeah, and I still like, those are perfect examples of never like, that's the reason why I was in that class. You know?
Yeah.
I just wouldn't think anything through.
Yeah, but it was meant to be stop,
something.
think, and then do something good. Yours was stop, think, fucking do it.
Yeah, or just do and
exactly
then
what you
later
think.
maybe think. You know?
Yeah, different order.
Yeah, just got the order mixed up. But
We were talking about how you guys grew up with like quite a fair bit of talent in them. I mean, Rennie, Sutto, Mark Matthews, who you mentioned as well too. And we first met when you were doing another doco, and it was a Fighting Fear movie that you were just launching.
Yeah.
And there was a funny story because Mark and yourself, big wave surfers, like big cliffs of water that you're surfing on Rocky Reef. And he tells a story about how he used to be too scared to paddle out the back. Then his mum would come and get him on a bodyboard and paddle him back in because he wouldn't go back in. Speaking about your experience when you're saying that if you didn't ride a wave in, Kobe Aberton say, well, you can walk your way 3 hours home. What was it like for Mark coming into that crew?
Well, he was way more talented than me. So like,
He could get away with it.
Mark's always, he's like a unique character, you know. He always has like kind of like moral compass, you know. Like he just that peer pressure didn't affect him as much as it did me, you know. He didn't want to go impressed like I did. He was just a different character, and but he was much more calculated, like in this big surf, like mad as a cut snake, but he will just read the situation, you know, and think about it differently to me, you know, to most people. Like he's still got some of the craziest ways I've ever seen in my life, and I think Kobe and that couldn't pull that over him just because I think even from early on they thought him as a rival, you know what I mean? And like he wasn't like a grommet like I was, you know.
Right.
He was physically bigger. He was a year older than me, and he was not far behind him in terms of talent and what he was able to do in the big surf. So he didn't cop that kind of flack, you know what I mean? Like, and then like I said, like before long, they were neck and neck, and then you know he just kind of left everyone for dead, and just became one of the Australia's, if not the world's best big wave surfers. And like I said, he's always just been had a different like take on life to a lot of us. You know, he's like I said, he just never been a sucker for peer pressure, and always done things that sort of come from.
But you hit the nail on the head saying he's calculated.
Yeah.
Like he's got such a big heart and he will go anything, but everything is measured.
Yeah.
And he's my voice of reason. I think he's a lot of people's voice of reason.
I'm talking about people like my close knit friends who helped me through like the period where I was getting in trouble, and I got extradited to Queensland, and was also looking at going possibly jail for a blue I got into, and like it was guys like Mark, not sitting me down and lecturing me, but just like leading by example, giving me the odd chat, you know what I mean? But not like at the time I didn't even know he was trying to give me a message, you know what I mean? Or it wasn't like a lecture, but like, and then he'll take me and say like, the voice of reason, and I'm really, really grateful to have him in those now, but also through those period where things could have gone one of many ways, you know. And he's a interesting character. Like, we're very different in terms of like approaching big waves. I like to take my brain out of the equation. And just like, if a tone like this, give me the rope, big one comes, we're going. I don't want to think. The more I think, I'll probably come up with ideas if I can probably not do this, you know.
Stop,
but
think,
he'll
do.
be like, like don't involve stop, think, do, you know. Keep that lesson out. But he'll be like looking at what line I take, where to let go of the rope, a landmark to line up with, and your one's coming from this angle, and and then. Yeah, he was like super calculated.
He's unreal.
All right, Mark, because he'll be trying to feed me that information. Wait for these ones. Don't go these ones. Like, sorry. Go, it's fucking.
What was it like growing up with the backyard that you guys used to surf on in ours, which is absolutely insane to surf generally? I mean, I know you guys don't let anyone else on the wave anyway, but...
these days it's chaos out there.
Yeah.
It's like
I never surfed it.
You've never surfed it? I thought you were
fucking crazy like these lot.
But you surf a lot.
I can surf. I can't surf on my backhand. I'm not going to surf on my backhand on a wave that breaks a meter from the rocks. I'm like, I don't want any part of that. I'll come and watch. And that's why I didn't go watch all those years, because I knew I'd get like pressured into surfing it one day and get really hurt.
Because guys like way less talented than you going out, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Well, he's going, why don't you get out? Like, I could just see, because like I said, that mentality just put so many of my mates out there who should not have been out there. Just because you want to go. Oh, no, I didn't surf, you know what I mean? Like,
No, but having that wave, Rich, like that really, to have a wave in Sydney, especially at Kurnell, it really magnified Maroubra again, and it
Totally.
was already surfed before.
Yeah.
It wasn't ours.
Yeah.
Like there was guys that bodyboarded
That was
it
just
and
off
stuff.
the cuff remark. I said with Marky, well, there were some surf journalists there, like that were talking about the new wave because we just started surfing it because bodyboarders were surfing it before
Yeah.
then, and we could have like saw some footage and worked out where it was. And I was like, it's ours now. Like just like some cheeky little grommet,
Yeah.
and just stuck, But yeah, it catapulted so many careers, and it's still doing that today. Like Max McGuigan is one of the best out there, and all the guys from Cronulla, like Flintoff, and all the young grommets from it's really busy out there now, and bodyboarder stuff now. Like the vibe out there has totally changed, but such an amazing spectacle of a wave to be found on our doorstep, right in amongst the time where slab surfing, which is kind of like almost a style of surfing unique to Australia, because just our coastline produces these waves where waters comes out of super deep water, hits these ledges and just fold over themselves like a slab, and you've got waves like Chopu are kind of similar, but much more mechanical and much more perfect. But Hawaii's waves are different, and it was around this time where the surf media was just couldn't get enough of this slab surfing idea, these new discoveries, and because it was always so spectacular, it's always like life and death, and just photogenic, these waves look so amazing just to look and watch, and right in amongst that we sort of discovered where ours was, or where Cape Solander was, and started surfing it, and it really pushed all of the Maroubra grommets who were keen to surf big waves, like myself, Rooster, Evan Fawkes, of course Mark Matthews and Kobe Abnam were already leading the way. It was phenomenal.
Did that Red Bull event make that area blow up even more?
I think
that was to actually have an actual surfing event at that,
and to
break.
get those conditions that I didn't even know were imaginable. To get in that little 3-month period, I've never seen anything like that before. Never seen anything since. It just happened to get the most phenomenal storm and just conditions lined up to have that event just blow the internet apart. Because it was the wave it already had a lot of notoriety and a lot of attention in the surfing world, because like I said, it's a pretty spectacular wave. It's got these unique features to it, and but that Red Bull event and the conditions we got, and the world's best surfers going out there and giving it a nudge, just blew the lid off it. And I, again, it's one of those things you look back and go, I can't believe that happened either. Just we were so lucky to get those conditions and try surfing that wave on that day.
We've spoken about a lot of the surfing component of you. I think there's so many different layers of you, which is awesome. But your fighting component, you started sort of getting into that sort of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 18.
Yep.
You were probably one of our first Aussies that ended up in the UFC. What was that journey like? Because that was...
it was... that's what I'm so grateful for, the journey these days. Looking back now, knowing that it's over, it's
such a cliche term, isn't it? The journey.
Yeah. And it is. It's not the destination's journey or whatever that shit. But but you look back now, you're removed from it, and I'm saying that now, and I haven't fought MMA since I think 2018 or something like that. So but the first few years was very tough. I was like, fuck the journey. I want to get back in there and get results and get back on the pedestal and chasing that glory. But now I'm obviously in a different stage of my life now, and go, fuck, it was and the friends and the communities that I've met through that, you know what I mean? The last kind of year, I'm teaching at Gracie Botany now. I'm just teaching one class a week, just some no-gi jiu-jitsu, and just being reconnected with that community and all your friends that you've made on that journey, you know what I mean? Whether it be a kickboxing gym or a boxing gym, and all the friends, because combat sports are weird in that way, where you connect with people differently. You both know, both being fighters, whether you're a sparring partner, you just spent hours, in the ring just punching the shit out of each other to try and improve each other, or an opponent who you've share that brief moment, when the lights are on the fight night. There's still people I speak today as if so I just got it because I've always been a little bit sort of had a competitive edge, and I've always loved boxing. Like I said, growing up with Ren, all the young fellas down the beach used to enjoy training and putting the gloves on and hitting the pads and sparring. And then when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was introduced to the beach, through Alex Prats and Bruno Pano, we all just sort of flocked to it. You know, we were just baffled at this new sort of martial art concept and how you can put people to sleep so easily, or like, you know, the pub wasn't safe for years because, you know,
It wasn't.
Just gone,
I wouldn't let Richie stand behind me because once he did learn to do the guillotine, it was like, you're out. Is it the guillotine, that one? Choke him out? Rear naked choke, whatever.
Did he need a step ladder to get up and choke you?
Oh, he would just put people to sleep for fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's Rich? No, but I think you're being modest, Rich, because you're an actual pioneer for MMA in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I was down in Melbourne for Derby Day, and I met this kid, and he was like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, from Maroubra, blah, blah, blah. He goes, fuck, do you know Richie Vas? And I'm like, yeah, he's one of my best mates. He goes, mate, he's the biggest fucking legend. I'm like, what do you do, mate? He goes, I'm trying to get in the UFC. And I was like, man, he just was so stoked that I knew who you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but like, well, back in the day when Rich first went into MMA, he'd pack out Luna Park because we go down and watch him fight, and it'd be that many of us there, and I couldn't imagine the kind of pressure that he might have felt. He may not have, but like, I'm like, we were in the crowd going, "That's our boy," you know. We're here, and it was some of the best times going to watch him fight. Like, he's incredible, and then to see him his journey, even to go in the UFC, go in the Ultimate Fighter House, fight 3 weight divisions up. Yeah. He went from bantamweight to welter.
Fighting welterweights, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that was with Rob Whittaker.
Yeah.
You know, like, but Richard already, and that's another thing with Maroubra. I think Bra Boys gave us a bit of profile.
Yeah.
It might have helped us push our careers a bit further.
Yeah.
But his MMA career was outstanding to be a part of.
What was a highlight during that time?
You know what? Like what Ren just mentioned, those fights at Luna Park and those ones, one at the Roundhouse, just because they were intimate, you know, like little venues. But we could pack them out, you know, and I was so grateful that I had the support from all of my mates on the beach, and that surf community came across too, you know, that weren't really familiar with the fight sort of scene. And, but yeah, those moments, you know, like Shark Park was an awesome one, you know, so winning like a few titles in those venues with a packed house, we were just surrounded by my friends and loved ones. You know, like, it was intimate, and you could see people's faces. You could see Jimmy Olsen was hanging off the cage at one point, like screaming when I was
wild
in the con scene. Yeah,
it
like,
was wild.
Giving me like, yeah, he's not in my corner, but like, he's a mate on the drink. Saying like, close the triangle. I'm like,
everyone knows a professional when they're not in the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they're full of piss.
Yeah, and like, of course, like, so they were like some of the favourite highlights, and then but like accomplishments like making the UFC was a big one. It still leaves a sour like taste in my mouth, because, like, you know, you get to the big stage and that's where you really want to shine and do your best. And I feel that's where like I sort of I did keep it together, you know, like the pressure and my mental approach to fighting, like it was just hard. And so I'm stoked I got there. Like, but like I said, like, you know, I wish I'd have got the results I dreamt about, you know what I mean? But it's just it's all like I said, part of the journey, and I'm still stoked with where I got and what I got done. But yeah, I love those local venues, you know, with all the boys in the crowd. It was they were special moments, and it's good fun.
Shark Park was weird to fight at. Hey, I think I had one of my fights there. I don't know if we were on the same card or whether it was a couple of years apart.
Because they did a few shows too in the boxing ring too.
Yeah,
so like mixed MMA, fighting, kickboxing, boxing ones as well.
It was just weird because it was like the grandstand was full, and then like the square around the outside, and it was just like these random people, and you're like, it's cold, it's middle of footy field. Look, it was odd. I found it odd.
Did you get nervous, Ren, before a fight?
Yeah, I think like different nervous. Like it was kind of, I was like a little bit of a clown before I got in the ring. Like as long as I had good music on, I'd dance, I could have a sing, and just I was super relaxed. And my coach loved it because he was so used to just people just being like this. Yeah. And I'd be laughing and smiling. Like I think I walked out to Sweet Caroline, and I was in the ring just like going, I wanted everyone else to sing because it'd make me feel more comfortable. But as soon as you put your head through the ropes, and I'd imagine same with like the going, that cage gets locked and you're like, it's just me.
Yeah.
Like now it is just me. It doesn't matter, you know, every training session I've done, every, you know, meal I've eaten or not eaten, or like every bit of blood, sweat, and tears.
All those sacrifices, like this was.
It's what it comes down to. So and there's so much skill, but there's so much chance as well. And, you know, it just takes one good hit from either side. And, you know, we're at the old age saying everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And it's so true. And you can train for so many different scenarios, but yeah, it's wild. And how weirdly deafening It's like you don't hear anything. You might hear one or two voices that are super familiar to you. Like it was loud when I fought, and I think it was one of the main event fights and no limit fights, and I could hear my coach like eerily silence
Like
him,
focusing on him.
and I could hear one mate like just sort of making jokes, and that was it. It's bizarre.
It is. It's a surreal experience, eh? And I think it's so good for you to sort of get to know yourself differently. You know what I mean? Like putting yourself out there, so uncomfortable and like so vulnerable and scared and terrified but excited and like a little and you have that mongrel like you want to, you brings out a different animal in you as well.
Yeah.
But you're like, it's like complete like ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like I was this terrified little kid. I didn't want. Sometimes I was backstage just, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know if I go out there. I'm not gonna fucking out there. You know what I mean? Like it's like, what have I done this again? And then you get in there and you're fucking like excited, scared, but then also like, I can't wait to feel this guy. For him to hit me. And like hit and just feel his like smell him and like feel his strength. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of weird, so like primal kind of,
We're
like
still talking about fighting.
yeah. But like weird because I was like, you like feel that kind of weird energy. Like I want to get hit now. I want to fucking just like weird smell this guy's sweat and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just.
I used to always want to get hit first because it'd make me feel better about
that's
also
wrong
hitting them.
What's wrong with both of you?
My coach was he's like, be first. I was like, no, I need them to hit me first because like I'm not a like really aggressive person. Like you guys are both, man. I'm a big hugger and kisser.
Mate,
and
I'm the same. Like I'm more like I feel that way. I think a lot of it was that's how I was meant to be. Like this is how I was supposed to be.
I needed them to flick the switch, and then you're like. But do you reckon? Because you had a couple of fights that ended the same way. Like losing by TKO is probably one of the most heart-wrenching things. Like it's not like a footy game where you know, okay, well I've dropped the ball or I missed that tackle. I've still got 40 minutes to go. I've still got 5 minutes to go, and I can make it up. That one decision that you got wrong. And the guard goes down, is it?
Yeah.
You don't get another chance to get up and throw another punch. And I don't think there's anything that has ripped my heart out as much as...
Yeah, I still slump into like bouts of depression thinking about fights. You know, like ones that I had in the bag and I just made that mistake and got caught, ones I just didn't show up for. Like I got beat by an opponent that I should have beat. Like I know, like not just saying to be like cocky or eager, like I should have, that guy, I should have allowed him to beat me, and it fucking tears me apart.
Yeah.
And like, but that's the beauty of the sport. Combat sports is it's like it can flick like that. You know what I mean? That's why it's so exciting. Everyone loves to tune in because, you could be telling someone up for like 15 minutes and then just slip right when you should slip left and wear a head kick and next thing you're fucking, you wake up, your clothes out of fashion.
What about now though? Because like you said, you talk about those same moments now. Like the fighting and fighters in Australia are now following in footsteps that you've obviously paved along the way as well too. But the fight game just seems to be absolutely on fire.
Yeah, totally. And like hats off to like guys like yourself, the guy, no limit guys. I think Whittaker, Volk, all these amazing MMA fighters who've paid the way, and all these young guys coming up now. It's like it's incredible. And like it went through a phase there. Well, MMA had to bust in that door of the stigma of like it's human cockfighting, it's bare knuckle fight, all these just to get mainstream. It took a while, And I think it's because of guys like Whittaker and Volk who can speak so well. And, they just they're not the kind of people I thought that were gonna be a champion in this kind of sport. And then the boxing's just a huge revival. Some great promotions and not just the promotions, but the platform that's given these young Aussie fighters to perform on, and you see the Tim Tszyu also leading the charge, but you got Isaac Harman.
How good's Isaac Harman?
Yeah,
I love it. He's a mad Bulldog supporter, and I just always went, who is that guy? What a legend! And he just wrote to me randomly, I'll go for the Dogs, and I've just sort of like, mate, I've been a dog supporter.
He's so many good characters, and that's
such a good guy. But you look at Jai Opetaia, I'm a fan of that kid. He's unbelievable. Georgie Kambosos, Nikita. Nikita packed out the Horden the other night. And you speak of like Whittaker and Volk. For a small country, there's 30 million people in Australia. Like we've got world champions, we've got people that are fucking really good athletes.
And made it on the world stage too.
Absolutely.
They haven't just dominated here in Australia. Those guys have cracked it here and then just
level, which is Matteo Tapia, he's another one. So yeah, like I just love combat sports, kickboxing. John Wayne Parr was a pioneer.
We
and
saw his daughter fight on the
Yeah.
weekend as well too. Yeah, she killed it.
Unbelievable. So like across all combat codes, like we have such superstars and such characters and such. So for such a small number, like we shine so bright, you know. And I think at the moment, combat sports in general is on fire. And I think it was a bit hinged off the resurgence in boxing. I think it was led by the heavyweights. You know what I mean? Like when you have Fury and AJ and you know, all those big heavyweights and those big classic kind of like
Klitschko.
the popularity, exactly. The popularity of boxing and then the local promotions just grab hold of that and run with it. And we're such a talented nation when it comes to any combat sport, and it's been a lot of fun to be part of. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to work with Fox Sports and commentate and talk on UFC panels, and I'm as big a fan as ever. And I love chatting about, love watching all the young guys come up. You know, West Australia, like every little corner of Australia now, you're producing phenomenal fighters. It used to be, especially when I started, like it was such a new sport. You feel like you can only make it if you travel abroad, you know, and base yourself in the States. But now we're proving, you know, we can do it more here within Australia. So it's great to watch, and it feels like every week, every second week, there's a fight I cannot wait to watch. You know. So it's good. Both
of you have had to do it. We've all had to do it and retire and realise that our head and our heart are a lot further ahead than what our body is, and our body's slowed down a lot more. How hard was that moment, and when did your body tell you it was time?
Yeah, it was more not so much my body came a bit later. It was just more like my head just realizing, okay, what am I chasing this for now? You know what I mean? Like, what am I putting it's such a selfish sport, you know. You're either all in or you're like, don't bother, you know. And I respect the sport enough to know that, you know. I didn't want to go in there just to have a half-assed training camp and just get back in there for the lights and a bit of, you know, whatever. If I was in, I was all in. And after I was released from the UFC, my daughter Grace came on the scene, and that shifted my world and my priority. And things just like it wasn't the end all and be all anymore. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm all in undie wrestling now. So like I said, I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. And the boys at the beach call it undie wrestling, because you know what it was back in the day. They push your undie wrestling stuff up, because you jump and try. So we're still joking about it, called undie wrestling. But like, I love teaching jiu-jitsu, and I competed last year in jiu-jitsu, so I can still scratch that little competitive itch. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like any kind of professional sport, the highs are highs and the lows are lows, and then when it comes to an end, you miss all of it. But I think, like I said, I love my life outside of fighting so much as well. Like everything that I'm so fortunate to have, you know, like family, friends, like the ocean I spoke about before, how much I love, you know, spending time doing that. Now teaching a bit of jiu-jitsu and like life's good. It started coming at a point where, at what cost was I going to keep trying to fight for, you know, when I can still enjoy so much of my life without, you know, having to sit through a straw, you know, by the time I'm 45 or something, you know. Yeah.
How wild is it to think where you started in Maroubra as that rat bag kid, you know, that was getting told to think before they do, to then nailing it in surfing, nailing it in UFC, and now you've just had your second child as well too, only a couple of weeks ago. So congratulations there.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it wild to look at that adventure of the journey that we keep using the buzzword for and going, wow?
I wouldn't say I nailed any of those though. You know, I was just a punter who just fucking had a crack because I was insecure and just had a small man syndrome. You know? I just would like these big Samoans play stop wedging me to play surf club. I was truly passionate about whatever I put myself into, and I had this big complex, like, don't die wondering, you know. If that's what you really want to do and you love it, just go, have a go. Like, because I'm a believer too. You don't get the result, you're going to be better for the experience. You know what I mean? Like, it's not all about the results and stuff. So it is a bit of a trip, and I've been so lucky and grateful that people have come into my life and introduced me to things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was you know, in the sport at a time where it was in its infancy, and then it blew up, and I got to experience that, you know, that ride of, you know, MMA taking off, you know, worldwide, and it is a trip, you know. So I remind myself now, and I think something you do as you get older, to be grateful for those things, and feel very lucky and fortunate to have to have experienced it, and I'm excited just for just everything that's like still in front of me as well, you know. It's not like it's it's all done and dusted, I still like have heaps of stuff to be excited about, and yeah, it may even be more exciting than the last 4 years. I don't know, you know. Changing Rocky nappy can be pretty tricky at times, so it keeps me on my game.
Rennie, I know he's probably one of the most humble people that we've sort of had on the show. It's like your chance to say what sort of impact he made on you, I guess.
It's the impact that he's made on everyone.
Yeah.
Like he's just a genuine, good, hardworking dude. That's a father that's excelled in his sport. I know when he really like dove into the MMA scene, he had to be selfish and had to be on his own and had to dive into it completely. But we all respected that. That's what you got to do to be successful in your sport.
Yeah.
He's never changed once. He's the funniest bloke I know by far. Never. He's got 9 lives. We call him Richie 9 lives. He's had about 900 lives. I just thought of a story about Thailand. Just like, because we went over and trained at Tiger Muay Thai. And this is just how lucky he is. And like he can contort his body and like he'll get thrown, pitched off over a wave, head first, and land on his feet. And like anyone else would
literally
die.
a cat.
He's literally a cat.
Spider monkey.
Yeah. Spider monkey. We're in Thailand and we're training at Tiger Muay Thai. So we're doing a camp over there. It's me, him, and Jared Hickey. You know Jared Hickey?
Yes.
Big boy. He just met Jared. So we go down to a beach. We're on our mopeds. We go down to the beach. We're at a place called Naihan. And I said, boys, just wait for me because you don't know your way back because we're going back to Geelong. And they take off. Richie's on the back. Fucking Jared Hickey looks like fucking Donkey Kong. Yeah. And as I've come around the corner, I've just seen this bike in one section. Jared Hickey just fucking on the deck, covered in scratches, dirt all over him. And Richie just standing next to him, fine. And I'm just going, this makes sense to me. I go, fucking what happened? He goes, mate, I've tried to hit the brake. Front wheel went underneath me. I've gone over the handlebars, but Richie's landed straight on the back of Jared.
Just surfed you
Not
over
a
the
scratch
grass.
on him.
Yeah, I felt bad. He lost so much bark. Like
He ended up
he was
in
like
hospital.
a mummy. Like he was
We had to take him to hospital.
bandaged from head to toe, and I literally did not have a scratch. A little backpack.
At the
on,
best fight camp of your life.
Yeah.
Oh God. Nah, but just in a nutshell, Rich, you're a fucking legend. You're a stand-up person. You're a good mate. You're a brother, and I'm proud of you, mate.
Mate, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah. Thanks.
He doesn't like
No,
compliments.
he doesn't.
He's like,
So the first time I met you was
Oh,
like
it's a bit-
what, about 13 years ago when I was working for Body Science, and I came down and moved back from the Gold Coast, original Sydney girl, but moved into Coogee, and I knew about these bra boys or whatever they were, and straight away Greg and Nath from Body Science were like, yeah, you got to look after these guys at this event. And you were so welcoming, and it was just one of the most warmest people, and I got along with you so well, and it was just so cool to break down perception and reality. And there's always a good chance if you take the time to get to know someone that you're going to have a bloody great mate for life. So thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thanks. It was good fun.
All right.
Yes,
Enjoyed
Rich.
And thank you as well, Ren.
Thanks, friend.
Don't forget, like, subscribe and share, and also get around us on BTFU on Instagram, TikTok, and basically everything else. Rennie's on Snapchat if you want to find him there.
I'm not supposed to tell anyone that.
Sorry, my bad. And then we've got plenty of other shows where we talk about footy, racing, everything else in between. So make sure you check them out as well.